Hi, this is Young Nguyen.
I'm Jenny Brown.
And we're from the
Property Investing Forum, and I have no idea what you're going to do here, Young.
It's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret?
Yes, you'll find out very soon.
I'm sure I will.
Today we're going to be talking about planning to be wealthy. And one of the things that often people do is they don't plan to fail, they actually fail to plan. So, Jenny, in your Mindset Mastery courses, you talk about things like Missy and Mickey and all these things. So, you want to just shed some light with people about what's it actually about and how they can help them with their wealth plans.
Okay, well, the Mickey is an acronym that stands for Make It and Keep It. And originally I started using Mickey in property investing because you have a make it type of investing, which is the chunks of cash deal, and then you have the keep it types of deals, which is your passive income. But when I started working with people on the mindset of investing, what I found was that they needed to have a Mickey, they needed to have a wealth plan, and they needed to have a make it and keep it type of wealth plan. And I say if you don't have a Mickey, you have a Missy. That's a make it and spend it. And you don't want to make it and spend it. You want to set yourself up. And this is where having a wealth plan comes in. You need to make the money, but you also need to work out how to keep it and make that money work for you. So that's a wealth plan.
Yes.
How do you keep that money working? And you start by working out how much you need to live a basic lifestyle, and you set that up as a goal, and then you keep going, And if you keep missing it or missying it, that's making it spending. Well, you're never going to achieve your wealth goals by doing the Missy. You need to do the Mickey.
Yeah. And one of the things that people need to look at is sometimes there's a level of arrogance that because you're making X amount of dollars this year, that next year you're going to make the same or more. And I put it in that context of arrogance is that nothing ever stays the same.
Absolutely not. And we can attest to that. I mean, as property investors and people who have experienced a level of wealth, we know, don't we, that some years it's really, really, really tough.
That's right.
And you lose money sometimes.
Yep.
And you've got to be prepared for all of that. And what keeps you going is knowing exactly where you're heading and having that wealth plan under your belt. And, one day being able to get up and say, hey, you know what, I've achieved that. Now I need to head for the next level.
And it's also planning for the good times as well as the bad times. I know it's a bit of an interesting situation. What I mean situation, we're on a farm, and the situation with a farm is that sometimes you have great crops and sometimes you don't have great crops. And
sometimes you have rain and sometimes you don't, or it comes at the wrong time.
That's right. And you might have pests and you might have thunderstorms and you might have tsunamis, hail, all that stuff.
No tsunamis.
No tsunamis. You can tell I'm not from the farm, right?
You can tell you're not from the farm.
I'm from
you're
the
wearing
city.
a suit.
I'm from the city, and with the Brisbane flood, anything can get wet.
That's true. That's so true.
Yeah, but you got to plan for the good times and the bad times. I'm not talking about being negative and you're having to save every cent that you can. It's being sensible with it and putting an allocation. That's what I call it, an allocation of every dollar that you earn. You put that aside to reinvest it and make that work for you.
And let's just talk about that for a minute, Young. It's a really, really good point. I read a lot on how people get through tough economic times, and I think we've been through some tough economic times, and I'm sure we're going to face a lot more. And so as investors and with Mickeys or wealth plans, you need to have a plan for a tough economic time. And one of the things I've done a lot of study on is how people got through the Great Depression. And one of the things I've found out is that the people who got through the Great Depression were people who have very, very clear wealth plans and actually didn't have debt. So they were out of debt, they had a little bit of cash. And so when people who were in debt and had loads of, credit and just weren't managing their money and didn't have a wealth plan, when they got into trouble, it was the people who had those wealth plans and weren't in debt and had that cash as a surplus that were able to go in and, buy those properties, which actually, it sounds like it probably didn't help those people, and it didn't in some ways, but it actually did because in some circumstances it got them out of problem. I'd much rather be on that side of the wealth plan than on the side where I'm desperate to sell and have no way out other than to sell. So, if you study these economic times and study what gets people through, you'll see that they have very strong plans for their wealth and they stay in touch with circumstances and they're ready for those, things that come up. More millionaires were made at any other time in history during the Great Depression. And I want to know why. Well, the reason is they had a wealth plan and they were out of debt. they had surplus cash, and they were able to use that then to pursue and further their own wealth.
Yeah, and one of the tips we want to give you before we start to finish up is it's not about who has the most properties wins. And what Jenny's alluding
Absolutely
to
not.
is how it's structured. Pre-GFC, I had over 40 properties, and I sold most of them during the GFC just so that we could clear out our debt and get into a better financial situation. These days, my portfolio is a lot more compact and it's a lot more robust, and our cash flow is so much better than it was before the GFC. So it's not about who's got the most property wins, because having a lot of property sometimes
could mean having a lot of debt.
Absolutely, and we've seen people, with a lot of debt and a lot of property get hurt through the GFC, and they've had to dig themselves out of those holes. And for them, it's a learning lesson for them. It's a learning lesson for us as well. That make sure you have a lot of cash, pay down your debt if you can, and progress towards your own wealth plan.
And be very, very clear on what that is for you.
So it's been very, very fruitful today. Excuse the pun.
We're on the farm.
Yeah, we are on the farm.
And we are
today.
surrounded by mango trees.
That's right. So this has been Young Ewan.
I'm Jenny Brown.
We're from the
Property Investing Formula.
Check out our website, and we'll catch up with you later. See you later.
Bye.